What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Gaming with Nimbus. And today we are going to take a look at Retro Fighter's Brawler 64 wireless controller for the Switch. Now, this controller was sent to the channel for review, but despite the fact that they sent this controller to the channel, all of my ideas of how I feel about this controller is my thoughts and my thoughts only. So what I think about this controller, that's what I'm going to tell you. Now, before we get started, take a look at the graph. I do this all the time. And as you guys can see, there are a lot of people watching the videos that aren't yet subscribed to the channel. Yeah. I'm going to give you guys this opportunity to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification button, all the YouTube stuff for the algorithms. You know, when you hit the subscribe button, it helps me out, it helps the channel out. So yeah, do it. With that being said, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Alright guys, so as you guys know, we have reviewed Retro Fighter controllers here before. They sent us the Duelist controller for the Switch that was mostly designed, if that actually was completely designed, to play Smash Brothers on the Switch with. But this controller is the Brawler 64 that is strictly for the Switch and for PC. Now, I do have the version of this controller that's wired for the N64, which is this controller right here. It's basically the same. The only two differences between this controller and this controller is that this controller is obviously wired specifically for the N64, and it has the back port for the Rumble Pack and so forth and so forth. Now, there is a third version which is just like this wirelessly, but is specifically for the N64. So it's basically this, but wirelessly, okay? Now let's talk about the form factor of the controller. I love that controller for the N64. I basically use that every time I use my N64. I use that wired version. So form factor, I love this controller to play N64 games. Now, there are pros and definitely there are cons for this controller. We'll go through the pros first and then we'll go into the cons. Cons is that to play an N64 game on the Switch, this is probably could be, I wouldn't say the best, but it's a great controller to use, okay? It has all the controllers for the N64 controller. It has the C up, C Y, C left, C right, C down, has the A, the B, and it's constructed to look like a better version of the N64 controller. Now, since this is an N64 controller, this definitely needs, and it has, rumble capabilities, because we all know rumble capabilities for a controller came with the N64. Now, for you to connect this controller to the Switch, this controller comes with a dongle that you connect into the Switch, okay? And that is what you use to connect the controller to the Switch. This controller could also connect to your PC and to your Mac. The difference is that it won't be wireless. You have to connect it wired with this USB Type-C that is in the box when you buy the controller. It comes with this cord. So you can't use this controller wirelessly on the PC. It has to be connected at all times. It's fine, it's not a big deal because you're sitting at your computer anyways. Now, despite the fact that this controller feels well, it actually works pretty well, there is a problem with the button configuration when you use it on the Switch. What am I talking about? The problem with this controller, and I hope that they solve this, I'm pretty sure if there's a firmware update soon enough, if there is one out already, I will update this video. But as of right now, from the time that I've had with this controller, the problem with this controller is that all of the buttons are correct. You know, this is right, this is up, this is down, this is B, this is A. When we get to the C buttons, this is where better yet, this is where I have a bit of an issue with the controller, because let's say, for example, in Super Mario 64, the C buttons are used to control the camera, okay? But using this controller with Mario 64, you can't do that because by default, C up is R3, C left is L3, C right is the Y button, and C down is the X button. So the configurations for the buttons are a bit turned around, and since this doesn't have another analog, you can't use that analog to control the camera. So it's a little weird, because if you play Super Mario Brothers, okay, usually this would be jump and this would be punch or something. I think it was punch. And using this controller with Super Mario, they're both jump and these two are both punch. So it's, instead of playing like this, you would have to play like this or like this. So it in many ways, as of right now, you see how this is B and this is Y. It's basically the way it should be on an N64 controller, where this is up and this is jump and this is punch. So I don't know what happened with this controller. That's literally the only problem I have with this controller. And you can't change the configuration on the Switch. For some reason, this doesn't register as a Pro controller. Like any other controller that I've connected to the Switch has always registered as a Pro controller. This controller doesn't register as a Pro controller. So when I go online to try, when I go on the Switch to try to change the button configuration, it tells me I can't do it. So I'm a little confused to what happened here with this controller. I'm pretty sure, because Retro Fighters is a really good, they make great controllers, okay? And before they send me controllers, I used to buy their controllers. So I'm a little confused to try to figure out what happened here. But I wouldn't be surprised if they have a firmware to update this and to fix this problem. But as of right now, this controller has a problem with being played on the Switch, okay? Until they fix that problem, it's an issue. It's an issue because it's playable with the N64 games, but it's doable, but it's not the best, okay? And it's kind of, you know, is a little bit disappointing, because now that the Switch is going to have N64 games, I was hoping that this was going to be the controller that I use default-wise for all my N64 games, but as of right now, I can't, because it's a little off-putting with the button configuration. So I hope that they figure that out. But overall, besides that, the controller does feel great, and it's a great controller. I just hope that they fix that issue, and I know that they can, so I'm not 100% too worried. Hopefully they fix it, but they need to fix that. Alright guys, so I'm going to end the video here to conclude with this controller, with the Brawler 64. It is a great controller. It feels great. The buttons feel awesome to press. Everything. I love the analog stick on this. I love the way the D-pad feels on this. The only issue that this controller has is the button configuration and the way it's laid out, and the fact that I can't change it on the Switch. So these don't act as C buttons the way they should be on an N64 game. Okay, so I can't use these buttons to change the camera in Super Mario 64, which is a little bit disappointing. So besides that, the controller's okay. It's not a bad controller. It's not a great controller, at least not yet. Hopefully, Retro Fighters, they make an update on the controller, change the firmware to allow this to be the way it's supposed to be. And if they do that, then this is going to be probably the best controller to use on the Switch for these N64 games that are coming out. Alright guys? So, with that being said, if you like this video, give me the thumbs up, comment down below, and as always, please do not forget to subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Gaming with Nimbus. Deuces.